Hey there viewers, my name's Torinski and welcome back to another DCSS Sunday. Today we're of course jumping right back into the usual routine, trying to get a win with every DD in the game. Where we last left off, we'd had a couple of unfortunate early ended runs, but we'd finished off getting the lovely foe gear up to the point where they're worshipping Sif, also lucked out and found Fireball right at the end, which is absolutely fantastic for a Fire Elementalist start. So hopefully we can make some good progress here today with our caster, hopefully find Dragon Form and Manifold Assault if we can help it. I guess as long as we survive, we're guaranteed to find it thanks to Sif. But of course, who knows what the dungeon has in store for us, so without further ado, let's just get ready to hop right into it, shall we? Hello folk here, how's it going? Hey Thelfon, how are things? Hope you're having a fantastic end to your week here, start of your week, depending on how you frame it, where you put the boundaries. Regardless, a lovely day, I hope. But okie dokie, here on D7, as mentioned, we just got our hands on Fireball. Still not super castable, but that's also fine. This early on, it would make a lot of noise, and doesn't do all that much damage, 3d9 compared to our other already half decent spells, 2d15, 2d10, all that good stuff. So we'll probably be leaving it on the back burner for just a wee bit here, but definitely nice to have it as an option. We're also getting very close to hitting the skill cap that we set for this, which was, I believe, 12? It was indeed 12, perfect. So where do we want to go next? Could train some fighting for some health, and in fact I probably will just throw that on. Getting it to 3 with a +3 aptitude will take almost no experience whatsoever, so that just seems prudent. And on the flip side, I wasn't too happy with the idea of training conjurations, just because I don't think we'll be using it too much in the future. But it will help get Fireball cast, will bring up that spell power as well, so maybe we'll turn that on just a smidge too. Again, not too high. We can always train more fire magic if we so desire, since we will likely bring in ignition at some point as well, since we did start out training so much fire magic. Gets us to a point where it's already pretty close to castable, and that should be good for now, so let's just hop into it. Gotta remember where all of my spells are sitting here, just so I don't accidentally hit the macro for Ballistamites, or Blastmotes. Ballistamite are the other more fungal growth, of course. And immediately destroy Ribbit. We're gonna try and take all the things that we learned on our Jin run and definitely take it to heart, because we saw some pretty fantastic work going on there. Specifically, this Blast Mote is super strong at taking care of melee enemies as they come at us. We don't have any poison resistance, so maybe want to be slightly careful of the bees. Oh gosh, not the bees. Yeah, we just immediately demolish an Orc Warrior. Absolutely love to see it. Got to be a little more cautious of our magic point expenditure here, just because we were not at all having to deal with that on our Genie character. And I think we already hit 3 in fighting. Like I said, pretty much no experience necessary. In fact, I might turn it back on, because even with that claim, it was even faster than I originally expected, so that is just wonderful. And we can definitely just start blasting you, my friend. In fact, let's put this down and hit both the snake and the warrior. Fantastic. And that should just about do it. Of course, an ice beast, not really a problem for us. With their vulnerability to fire, they will immediately go down. Ooh, and there are actually quite a few bees here. Potentially our best bet, though, is just Flame Wave. Pretty sure it will kind of demolish the majority of these sons of guns. And indeed, we do see that to be the case, so that is fantastic. We do not have a cloak yet, so let's definitely run over and put on that bad boy. Every little bit of armor class helps out early on here, especially on an Ogre character, when we don't have any of the armor options available to us. Ooh, and we hear the roar of battle. Howdy to you as well, Badman Time. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome, welcome. And again, Blast Mote's doing a pretty fantastic little bit of work there. So we immediately see just how much damage we're capable of taking at the hands of the Yak. Oof. What was the start here? Fire Elementalist? Exactly that. Yeah, you got it. Trying out some of the new Fire Elementalist spells, specifically this Blast Motes. We did do one quick attempt last week of an Air Elementalist, but didn't quite get to the point where we got to experience a lot of the spell changes that were made in the Air school. But very much enjoying Blast Motes so far. In fact, I still need to do a little bit more experimentation with it, but it seems to me like it is a little too powerful compared to Conjure Flame. But again, pretty low sample size. And on a Genie, it was super strong. So we'll see over the course of this run how we end up feeling about it, what we end up thinking. Did I get any messages that I missed here regarding the Bailey? Faint creaking of a distant portcullis. So that means it was relatively close. I think I'll continue heading down and see if we get a closer message over this way. No, it's now very distant. So with that in mind, let's head directly in the other direction here. Direction, weird combo of words. Ooh. An Axe of Distortion will definitely take that into caution here. Okay, we're back to distance, so we're potentially heading in the right direction. Hello, might be friends. Again, we're kind of screwed from the poison standpoint, but we fortunately have a lot of AoE damage at our disposal, so fortunately that does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. If you want to come right my way, Centaur buddy, perfect. And very distant again, so maybe it's, I guess, somewhere down here. It could be top left too, depending on how far this stretches. Maybe head back this way to start off, since we know that the way is relatively clear, so we should be able to fairly quickly blitz our way through. Would you look at that? There is the entrance itself. Fantastic. I think we have plenty of time here. Oh, hello, my Knoll friend. If you would like to come right this way, we'll just blast ya. Okay, that first blast did absolutely nothing. Got me very concerned for our future, but fortunately was a little bit of a unlucky roll. So beautiful. We'll just heal up real quick here. I also just realized we do have this poison staff, so I probably should have swapped to that when fighting the bees, giving ourselves a little bit of poison resistance, but at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. And it's been a while since we got this Bailey. We should do okay. Electrocution on you, my friend. Let's actually back up and just resort to Foxfires here, since they're a little bit cheaper to cast. And it looks like we're gonna get our choice of magical halberds here. Just a smorgasbord. Smorgasbord? Word that I've never felt confident saying out loud before. Perfect time to say it on stream, of course. But regardless, we have our choice for sure of all the magical halberds. I don't think we'll be using them too far into the late game, but for the time being, it's nice to have a half-decent backup weapon, since we are running out of magic over the course of most extended encounters. So that is perfect. And we have Drain and Electrocution once again here, but fortunately the baby gnolls go down pretty dang quickly. Not too much of a worry there. I think that buddy, did you just have Draining, I believe? No, you had Electrical. It was the other buddy that we killed on the way to you that had the Drain. And we'll just walk away from you, my friend. Ooh, you are mited, which could be a bit of a problem, but fortunately, doesn't seem to be the case. Gnolls don't have quite enough health at this stage in the game. I mean, sure, if you run into a pack on D2, you are basically just rolling the dice and begging to whatever deity you worship that you make it through alive. But at this stage in the game, we have enough firepower that I'm not feeling too worried about it. I'm curious what the end of this zone will contain. Is it just going to be a... Yeah, there we go. It's an orc knight, it looks like. Maybe even a couple of them, since that seems a little light fare for this stage. Oh, there's also someone or something invisible there, so that's fun. But we'll just walk down this direction. We didn't quite kill you, my friend, but we can put down a couple more blast motes, and that should do the trick on the knight. At least get them relatively close to dead. There we go. And I'm tempted to put on the ring of see invisibility just to see who our invisible friend is here, but maybe we won't worry too much about it. In fact, maybe it's no one? Did one of these orcs just drink an invisibility potion when I wasn't paying attention? There was a plethora of invisibility potions just sitting on the floor there, so I would say likely, but not too shabby here. I also am just taking a look at my inventory for the first time of the stream, and I have a lot of garbage, so let us maybe not walk to this stairwell, but an upstairs. Also take a peek at a buckler that we can't use because it's too small for our giant ogre fists, so never mind. But again, we will walk to the upstairs, and let's start reading some of these scrolls. Should get ID, which we do. We already have curing and heal wounds identified, so I think we'll just get right into the scrolls this time around and see what we find. Do have a decent amount of identify at our disposal here, 3 more. So let's go with the stack of 3, blinking. Very, very nice. No, let's just get all of our multi-stacks. Sure, it reduces the chance that we find something like acquirement early on, but I don't think that that's really the end of the world. And we do find our orc entrance here as well, which makes a lot of sense with the overall makeup that we've been dealing with over the course of this floor. And hello, my yak friends. Yeah, what I think I'm starting to feel in regards to the blast motes here is, unlike the genie, couldn't make up my mind between Jinn or Genie. Unlike the Genie, we don't have quite as infinite of a pool of magic points to use on casting our spells, so maybe the double blast mode is not the best strategy in this case, and we should instead just leave a nice little trail of them behind us. And we can see it will probably still have similar damage. I mean, still when you're right next to enemies, it's nice to do the double, because then you and them both get hit by the concussive blast and blown to the side, which is fantastic. And I'm very much, as you can see, in the habit of placing 2 at once, because I immediately did so after just saying that we might change our ways. Yeah, if we instead leave trails like this, I think that we'll do a nice amount of damage, and we can just let enemies chase after us, take full advantage of this kind of landmine-esque strategy, because it definitely does the trick for the most part. In fact, let's blast our last friend earlier than expected. Perfect. And we might as well, we got the lair and orc entrance both very early on, so I think we should continue exploring just a little bit of dungeon here to see how it goes. Deactivate auto pickup, so this buddy's still after us. There we go, we get the more experienced message. We could take a look through these books. I'm tempted to just not worry about it, because again, Sif Muna will supply us with every book in the game over the course of even a 3 rune run, so we probably don't need any of this. There is Book of the Dragon though, so if I want to get dragon form a little bit earlier than otherwise expected, that might be the ticket. And it's only 506. We'll mark it at least for now. And then we can just keep on keeping on. Bit of petrification is not the end of the world. Ooh, and we get our first artifact staff. Holy moly. So Staff of Fire has Drain, which is a bit rough, Resistance to Fire, which I think is just part and parcel, and Int +4. So it's not the most amazing artifact, but it is a Staff of Fire, which works for us. Drain isn't great, but shouldn't be the end of the world. When we do eventually have to swap out of it here, we'll just hope that it's at a point in the game where we're feeling pretty strong. And I don't think that that is too much to ask for here, because once we do get Dragon Form and Manifold Assault up and running, we'll be absolutely swimming. And you know what, let us just put some blasting down here. I think there's an invisible buddy closer to us, maybe. Orc Warrior with an Arbalist is not ideal, but we'll just walk up here for now. At least takes care of our one new friend. And then if we pop in here, oh, of course you saw me. Why wouldn't you? Let's just bring you next to me, because I actually do prefer that over an Arbalist, even though you can deal a decent amount of damage. And not too shabby here. At least took out what I would hope to be the greatest threats on the floor. No promises, of course. Still haven't seen too many uniques on this run, so could always get a fun surprise in that regard. But we'll just mostly spam the ever-living crap out of Foxfire, and Steam Dragon Scales we'll actually probably put on here. So let's drop our robe, kill the kobold as they walk towards us here. Oh, I didn't get around to actually dropping it. There we go. Pick this bad boy up, and let's maybe just head upstairs to quickly change. Throw on these. Perfect. A little bit of additional AC. Dune's Dancer's staves have built-in resist. You don't remember that being a thing? They do. Yeah, it's actually the main reason why I'm carrying around the Staff of Poison, is because it will give me poison resistance in a time of need here. Yeah, it's this first line here, and protects them from the effects of poison. So it's definitely, even on fighter characters, sometimes I'll pick up staves for that very reason. It's why they're one of the few things that is always thrown onto my auto pickup list, regardless of what character I'm playing. Do I end up using them that often on melee characters? Not really, but it's nice to have some kind of backup strategy, specifically for something like poison especially, I feel. But not too shabby here. Do you know what? I think regular rocks can probably hit the dirt here. We'll just ignore those for the time being. Was that always true? You used to use them as melee weapons on casters ages ago and don't recall it? Yeah, you know, I wouldn't confidently say that that has always been the case. Definitely since I returned to the game, but that wasn't all that long ago. So it doesn't lean or lend itself too much one way or the other here. And I do have to wait for you to walk into it, since unfortunately they do count as summon, those blast motes, or summons rather, so they will disappear pretty early on. Fire Dragon Scales early could be interesting. Used to really like Earth's AC bypassing attacks on casters. Makes a lot of sense for sure, especially depending on your spell set and what kind of damage you're going to be dishing out. In general, I still very much like using Enhancer Staves on casters, even as a backup melee weapon, especially if you find one in your spell school. You have pretty good training. You don't even need evocation training to do a pretty good job of taking advantage of its elemental hits, or strikes as well. But we do get this artifact cloak here. It's a +1 cloak. I don't think we'll buy it because of the slow, but See Invisible and Evocable Blink are both pretty fantastic, so it's still relatively tempting to grab. We'll see what happens. Oh, and would you look at that? We find Dragon Form. We also picked up Irradiate here, so both of those are incredible spells and will definitely be hitting our repertoire at some point here. In fact, what I think we'll do is keep Fire Magic on the back burner, and let's start training Transmutation, shall we? It'll take a decent bit here. In fact, let's go up to 16. Take a decent bit to get it up to any reasonable point, but once it gets there, it will be a wonderful addition to our setup here. Even without Manifold Assault, we still might end up using it. Maybe we'll start training our unarmed relatively soon here and see where that takes us. And we'll just keep blasting our yaks to Kingdom Come. Fantastic. The others are nice but don't serve as great alternatives for enemies resistant to your primary school. Very true. Yeah, you're just leaning fully into being a one-trick kind of character in terms of your element. And good for popcorn, definitely. Yeah, it doesn't help offset your existing weaknesses, but it's usually fairly decent, at least in its own right. And we'll just take care of our final yak here. Beautiful, not too shabby, all things considered. D10, we're getting close to the point where I'll probably want to turn around and head up to, I guess, Lair? Orc might not be horrible, but we don't have the best AC, so I feel like if we get a few mighted Orc Knights and Warriors on our tail, we're probably going to be in trouble. I think we will immediately swap over to Troll Leather, though. We lose 1 AC, but gain regeneration, which is huge. I'm generally very tempted on any Ogre character to throw on the first Troll Armor we find, unless you happen to luck out and get like an early Dragon Scale of one of the stronger varieties, then that's usually going to be your best bet. And there we go, finally get a good hit on their Blast Motes. Josephine, or just a single Wraith kind of hanging out? I guess the latter. Won't hold my breath, still might get a couple surprises as we finish off the rest of the floor, of course. But we shall see how things all shake out. So yeah, we don't get the blast effect if we do the single landmine, which I guess is a point to using the additional mana just to do the overlapping blast radiuses. Pushes me one direction and the enemy the other, instead of just pushing me down. Interesting. Don't fully know where we land yet, but I'm sure we'll come to more and more of an opinionated stance as we continue to use the spell a bit more here. Still very much loving it in general. Very strong addition to the Fire Mentalist kit, which again they may or may not have needed in the first place, seeing as how I already feel pretty dang confident on most Fire Elementalists, but details and all of that. Let's just take full advantage of it while we are given the opportunity. And you know what, Nergal we could probably take out fast enough. 60 health. The issue is always if all of the spectral orcs get in the way, then you end up dealing with a lot more than you originally expected when looking at just the baseline stats of this son of a gun. So I think we will avoid you just for the moment here, not feeling too hasty, still have plenty of dungeon to explore before we need to, you know, begin to get a bit more on the desperate side. Box of Beasts is wonderful. Generally only once you've gotten some training, to be fair, but at some point that'll definitely be on the list. You know what, let's not get surrounded for the time being. I should also check, Fireball is now very castable, and the damage has gone up a crap ton. 3d15 is absolutely fantastic. I guess Fire Staff has a lot to do with that probably, but still wonderful to see, of course. And well, yeah, we'll just bring you to me, my new friend. Once again, we have to ask ourselves, Josephine? Just a random undead? Por qué no los dos? Seems like they were alone here so far, but we'll have to see. I don't love a vampire, so I think we're just going to head upstairs. And in fact, this is a half decent time to turn around. Also think about learning some invocations here so that we have access to channel magic, since that's now available to us, and would help a lot in an extended fight just to ensure that we can keep blasting our way through any issues that come up. Would take a little bit away from our other schools here. Transmutation is almost at 6, so let's see where that leaves us on Irradiate, down to 22%. And Dragon Form is starting to come down, still 99, so it's not close by any stretch of the imagination, but it is started, and that's always the hardest part, as it were. So let's head up to Lair. I think with Blast Motes and Fireball, we should do fairly well in Lair, all things considered. Immediately run into an elephant, which, if I can take you upstairs, my friend. Perfect. Immediately got shoved through my own blast motes. Fantastic. And we're definitely taking some damage of our own here. We do have really good fire resistance, so I think that's kind of keeping up with the damage that comes in from the blast motes. And once again, let's just take our one elephant upstairs. If we're going to luck out and they don't push us off the stairs, then I will definitely take full advantage of that and see how things go. This elephant, at the very least, is not in the same risky position, so that is a nice, easy one for us to take care of. Ah, and there we go. We finally got pushed off of our stairs. Blast motes do make a decent amount of noise here, which is not great. Ooh, right, and Flame Wave, fortunately, doesn't work out wonderfully when you're getting shoved around like that, but not the end of the world. 52 health against our Moxen friend here. 10 damage with poison. Oh, there we go. Poison has indeed hit. Fortunately, not too bad, and the mixture of Scorch and our melee attacks should be enough to take care of a lot of our enemies that come up here, so not too shabby whatsoever. And then if I can just steam the ever-living crap out of everyone as they try and approach us, or in fact, the Dream Sheep can't even approach us now that I have noticed that that is deep water that they're standing in front of. So we will gladly cheese things up just a smidge here, play it safely, so we keep getting put to sleep. Not a problem whatsoever. Ooh, and we get access to Divine Exegesis. Again, we haven't trained evocations, so it's not at all castable here, 93% failure, but it is nice to have as an option in the future. So we can definitely keep that in mind. Especially since it's not super likely we'll get a lot of the high-level blasting spells under our belt at any point during this run, so that might be a nice mixture here, or a nice opportunity rather, to be able to cast those level 9 spells without needing to learn them, or at least get them to that point of being available. Excuse me, my friend, if you could come right this way. Oof. More annoying than anything else. What can I do against our Dream Sheep friend? Bring out a bunch of those, and then I guess finish them off with our very first fireball, which will immediately catch the whole forest on fire. Whoopsie daisies, that was not intentional. I guess nice access to the treasure though, so not too bad. It all works out. All is well that ends well. And hello, my Rhyme Drake friend. Depending on what this robe is, we could end up using it. Positive energy, not horrible. Halberd of Electrocution can probably go, and we'll at least carry this thing around. It could at the very least be used to fight Nergal up on, I think that was D12. So at least has some potential use case in the future. You know what, let us tuck ourselves into this nice little corridor here. And we are dealing with groups, so we can immediately bring out the Flame Wave. And not too shabby. And see, I was already used to wielding the halberd there. I saw an enemy 2 steps away from us and thought, oh, I'll just reach out and stab it. Not quite as much of an option with the Flame Staff, but that's fine.